Ever get that feeling? Like you see a smile, and it's like there's something else, something more underneath. That's what we're looking at today. We're using art kind of as our guide, you know? Specifically, we're doing a deep dive into this painting. It's called The Laughing Clown. It's by Henri de Toulouse Lutrick. On the surface, well, you see bright colors, you see a clown, and he's grinning. But there's something about the eyes, like they're unsettling, right? To help us kind of unpack all this, we've got our expert with us.
Clowns are interesting, because they've always kind of symbolized this contrast, forced merriment, but maybe there's some inner turmoil underneath. And Toulouse-Lautrec, he takes that idea and he goes a step further with it.
Okay, so how does he do that? What makes this different? I mean, it's not just a typical sad clown thing.
It's in the brushstrokes. If you look closely, they're loose, almost frantic, especially in the face. You really see it around the eyes. And that creates this feeling like there's unease. You've got this tension between that smile we see and then what the brushstrokes kind of show us underneath.
That's a really good point. It's funny, I never noticed how the technique itself adds to that feeling of sadness that's hidden. This kind of connects to this bigger idea, the idea of masks, right? Not just like a clown's mask, but those emotional ones. It makes me wonder, how often are we expected to be happy? To put on a happy face, even when things aren't great?
That's something we all go through. It's a human experience.
So it's not just us making a choice, it's like built into how we live in society.
You see it in different cultures.
Could you give us an example, like how that pressure to hide sadness, how it changes?
Sure. Think about saving face. It's really important in a lot of East Asian cultures. It's about keeping things harmonious, not wanting to show shame, even if it means you don't get to show your real feelings. Then you have Western cultures. Now they've started to talk about feelings more openly, but there's still that pressure to be happy.
So it's like different places have different rules about what you're allowed to show, I guess.
Yeah.
And this clown in Toulouse-Lautrec's painting, he's like a perfect symbol of that whole struggle, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. He's that tension between how we act on the outside and all those complicated feelings you might have inside. And that idea, that gap between what you show and what you feel, artists have been trying to understand that forever.
And it wasn't just Toulouse-Lautrec. You were talking about Frida Kahlo and Picasso earlier. And they explored hidden emotions too, but in very different ways.
Yes. If you look at Kahlo's self-portraits, especially self-portrait with cropped hair, it's all symbolism to get those inner feelings across. She cut off her hair, and that was a big deal, hair being a feminine thing. So she's rejecting what society expects and expressing her pain and defiance.
So the Laughing Clown uses technique to kind of hint at that hidden sadness. And Kahlo uses these symbolic actions, but it's the same struggle underneath.
That's it. And then you've got Picasso, his weeping woman, totally different approach. He uses cubism, distorts the figure, and the grief, it's just raw. You couldn't do that with a normal portrait.
So he's going abstract to get at feelings that are just too much, too real. It's amazing. 3 artists, 3 different styles, but they all land on this idea of emotions we hide. That's not just the famous ones, is it? You mentioned another artwork.
Right, Clown with a Tear. We don't even know who the artist is, but it shows, again, the clown is the symbol of hiding sadness. Simple image. Clown, single tear. But it cuts through all the differences, culture, art style, and it touches on that experience we all share, that sorrow we keep hidden.
It's powerful how a simple image can do that. Speaks to how strong the clown is as a metaphor for all these complicated emotions. But why clowns? What makes them so good for exploring this?
It's in what they are. Clowns are supposed to make you laugh, bring you joy, but look at them. Exaggerated features, that painted-on smile, it all feels fake. And that difference, that's what lets artists go deeper into that tension between the masks we wear and the truth underneath it.
So it's like that uncertainty about the clown gives artists a place to start, to look at those deeper parts of being human, the parts we don't talk about much. And the artists themselves, were they wearing masks too, do you think?
It's definitely something to consider. A lot of artists, especially those who go for darker themes, maybe they used art to get things out, to work through their own stuff.
So their art, it was a way to explore themselves, those hidden parts, the struggles they had with society, with their own lives.
Exactly. Think about Toulouse-Lautrec again. He always painted Parisian nightlife, a world that seems all fun and carefree.
Right.
But there's the sadness in his work, like he's pointing to something darker.
Right.
Behind the glamour.
So it makes you think, was he using art to figure out his own place in that world? His own struggles with the same things he's showing us?
It's possible.
He's inviting us to look closer, not just at his subjects, but at him as an artist too.
And when he does that, his art connects with us on a deeper level. It reminds us we're not alone in this. trying to make sense of who we are inside and out.
So we've talked about how art shows us this human thing. We hide our real feelings. And even the artists, they might be exploring themselves through their work. But what about us, the people looking at the art? What role does it play for us, helping us with all this complexity?
That's the big question. It gets to the heart of why we're even talking about this. Why does any of this matter? What can we, the viewers, actually get out of this, looking at these masked figures in art?
Right. We see how art is like a mirror, reflecting back these societal things, these personal struggles. But can it do more? Can it actually help us to, I don't know, unmask ourselves?
That's what we'll be diving into next, how art doesn't just show us the masks, but maybe helps us take them off.
That's interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
It's amazing, right? We see how artists use all these different techniques, symbolism, the way they paint, to show these hidden emotions, but then to this other layer, how this figuring yourself out. And everyone's journey is different, but art can be a guide. It can walk with you along the way.
I get it. Art can be more active in this process. But how do we actually use it for that? Is it just about looking at art that has these themes?
It's about really engaging with it. Next time you see a piece of art that moves you, ask yourself, what speaks to me here? What feelings are being shown? And how does that connect to my own life?
We're not just looking then. We're having this conversation with the art. We're using it to think about ourselves.
That's it exactly. And don't be afraid to question how you react at first. Art can challenge us, make us see things in new ways.
It's like art is giving us these new glasses to look at ourselves and the world differently.
Yeah,
And that new view can be so valuable, right?
absolutely. It can help us break free from those beliefs that hold us back, the expectations from society that keep us from being real.
So it's more than just learning about art. We're learning about ourselves.
That's right. And when you discover yourself like that, it can be freeing. It can help you get rid of those masks you don't need anymore, and you can start being more truly yourself.
But let's be honest, this unmasking thing, facing all those feelings, it can be hard. There's fear, resistance, maybe feeling vulnerable.
You're right. It's not like walking in a straight line. There will be tough moments,
Yeah.
times when you question things, when you feel like you're going backward. But that's okay. It's all part of it.
So how do we handle those tough parts?
Mm.
The fear, the wanting to resist. When we start to peel back those layers,
That's where self-compassion comes in.
self-compassion, what does that have to do with authenticity?
Think about what usually stops us from being real. It's that fear of judgment, worrying that people won't like us for who we really are.
So if we can learn to be nicer to ourselves, accept our mistakes, those parts we don't like, then it's easier to be real with other people.
Exactly. When we're okay with ourselves, we don't need to hide as much. We can be more open, more vulnerable, because we know we're worthy no matter what other people think.
That's powerful. Like self-compassion is the base. And then we can build authenticity on top of that. It gives us the strength to just be ourselves. No more needing everyone to approve of us all the time.
And that realness, it can spread. When you're genuine, it encourages others to be genuine too.
It's like a ripple effect, making the world a little more understanding, a little kinder, just by being ourselves.
Exactly. And that brings us back to art. It can help us grow that self-compassion, become more self-aware, and find the courage to be authentic.
I'm seeing it now. Art isn't just pretty pictures. It's not just for fun. It's a way to grow as a person, to connect with others, to make the world more real, more caring.
And it starts with just paying attention, looking at a painting, a sculpture, even a photo, and asking, what does this make me feel? What can I learn about myself, about the world from this?
Like artists starting a conversation. It helps us discover ourselves, connect with others.
Exactly. And that brings us to a big question, one that every viewer should think about. If art shows us those hidden parts of ourselves, what does your mask reveal?
That's a deep question. It's not about having all the answers right now. It's about starting to explore. And that's where we'll go next. After a quick break, we'll look at how to actually use art as a guide on that journey to becoming more authentic. Okay, so we've been talking about how art can help us on this journey to becoming more authentic. But how do we actually do that? What are some things we can, actually try to, unmask ourselves using art as a guide?
It starts with being present, being mindful, like next time you're at a museum, or even just looking at art online. Really pay attention to how you react, what pieces pull you in, what makes you feel uncomfortable. Those reactions, they can tell you a lot about yourself, about those masks you might be wearing without even realizing it.
So it's like art becomes a way to look inward. By paying attention to how we feel, we get these little clues about those hidden parts of ourselves.
That's it. And don't just stop at that first reaction. Ask yourself, why you're drawn to something, or why it makes you uncomfortable. Is it the colors, the way it's arranged, the subject, the feelings it brings up? The more you dig into those reactions, the more you'll learn about what's going on inside you.
So it's about those deeper questions, not just, do I like this, but what is this telling me about me?
Exactly. And as you explore those questions, remember, there's no right or wrong answer. Art is all about your own experience. What matters is that you're connecting with it personally, using it to learn about yourself.
It's like we're having this conversation with the art, and through that, we're having a conversation with ourselves.
That's a great way to put it. And while you're having that conversation, be kind to yourself, okay? This journey to being authentic, it's not about being perfect. It's about progress. It's about embracing all the messy, complicated parts of being human.
I love that. Giving ourselves permission to be imperfect,
Right.
to be vulnerable, to still be figuring things out.
Exactly. And remember, as you go through this, you're not alone. Art connects us all. Across time, across cultures. It reminds us that we're all part of this human experience, with all the good, the bad, and everything in between.
It's like art is this bridge between what's inside us and what's outside, and lets us connect with others who might be dealing with the same things.
That's right. And that feeling of connection, knowing you're not alone, that can be really powerful.
So to bring it all back to where we started, the laughing clown, that painting that got us thinking about all this.
We started by noticing those eyes, that tension, that hint of sadness. Underneath the smile the clown is wearing.
And that led us to all this. Masks, societal pressures, how complicated our emotions really are.
We saw how artists explore these themes in their work, how maybe they're working through their own hidden selves.
And we talked about how we, as viewers, can use art to discover ourselves, to unmask those parts we keep hidden, and move towards being more genuine, more authentic.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. And like any good journey, we end up with more questions than answers. But that's what's so great about art. It makes us think critically, to really feel things deeply, to question what we think we know, and to keep exploring.
And as you continue exploring, remember, becoming authentic is a journey. There will be times when you doubt yourself, times when you're scared, times when you just want to put the mask back on.
But there will also be those moments where things are clear, where you connect with yourself, with others, where you feel truly seen and understood.
And those moments, those glimpses of being real, those are what make the whole journey worth it.
So let art be your guide. Let it be your mirror, your companion on this journey of unmasking. And as you explore the world of art and emotion, you might just find a more authentic, more connected, more fulfilling Shiryu, your soul you.